What if the future of livestock feed didn't come from a field, but from a shallow pool of water, right on your own land? No, this isn't seaweed, and you don't need to live near the ocean. This is duckweed, one of the fastest growing plants on Earth, and farmers around the world are discovering it could be the next big thing in animal nutrition. In this video, I'm going to show you what duckweed is, how it compares to corn and soy, and how you can grow it right on your own farm or homestead. No aquaculture degree required. If you're interested in saving money on feed, closing nutrient loops, and growing more food with less land, keep watching. Duckweed is a small, free-floating aquatic plant from the Lemnaceae family. There are several species, but all of them are tiny, leafy, and incredibly fast-growing. We're talking doubling in mass every 24 to 48 hours under the right conditions. It's sometimes called water lentils because it floats in dense green mats and resembles tiny clovers. But don't let its size fool you. Duckweed is packed with nutrients. Duckweed has been used in Asian aquaculture systems for decades, often to feed fish like tilapia or carp. But now, it's getting renewed attention from land-based livestock farmers, especially those working in regenerative or low-input systems. One of the best parts? You don't need fancy equipment or deep ponds to grow it. Duckweed can thrive in totes, lined tanks, shallow pools, or even livestock runoff ponds, anywhere you can hold 4 to 12 inches of still, nutrient-rich water. And get this, NASA has researched duckweed for growing protein in space. If it's good enough for a space station, it might just deserve a spot on your farm too. Let's talk nutrition, because this is where duckweed really shines. On a dry matter basis, duckweed can contain anywhere from 35 to 43% protein, depending on how and where it's grown. That's higher than soybeans and significantly higher than corn, which usually sits around 9%. For farmers trying to reduce feed costs without sacrificing protein, duckweed is in a league of its own. But it's not just about the protein quantity, it's also about quality. Duckweed is rich in essential amino acids, including lysine and methionine, which are often limiting in common livestock rations. That makes it especially valuable for monogastric animals like pigs and poultry, which can't synthesize those nutrients on their own. It's also high in trace minerals like zinc, iron, magnesium, and potassium, along with vitamins A and B complex. Plus, it's highly digestible, even for ruminants, and has a soft texture that's easy for animals to eat, whether it's offered fresh, dried, or fermented. Unlike some high-protein plants, duckweed is low in fiber. That means it's not a bulky forage, but rather a concentrated protein supplement, kind of like a homegrown version of soybean meal, but one that doesn't require roasting, pressing, or imported inputs. So nutritionally, duckweed isn't just a filler. It's a legitimate, nutrient-dense feed that has the potential to replace or reduce grain-based rations, especially in diversified or regenerative systems where growing your own feed matters. So how does it actually perform in the real world? Let's look at how duckweed has been used in livestock trials and on-farm feeding systems. In poultry, studies have shown that including just 10 to 15% duckweed in the feed ration can improve weight gain, feed efficiency, and egg production. It supports healthy gut function, and birds seem to love the taste, especially when it's fresh or sun-dried and crumbled into their feed. In pigs, duckweed has been used as a partial soybean replacement. Farmers report improved digestion, better manure consistency, and a noticeable improvement in meat quality and growth rates. It doesn't work well as a sole feed, but as part of a balanced ration, it's a great protein booster. For cattle and goats, duckweed can be mixed into total mixed rations, or dried and offered as a supplemental protein source, especially during hay shortages, or in late summer when pasture quality declines. Ruminants benefit from the mineral content, and it works well in rotational systems that include feed blending or hand supplementation. It's also a staple in aquaculture, where it's used to feed tilapia, carp, and even ducks. And because of its soft texture and fast regrowth, it's one of the few high-protein plants you can grow, harvest, and feed daily, all from the same small area. Now let's talk about how you can actually grow duckweed on your farm or homestead, even if you've never grown anything aquatic before. The good news is, duckweed is easy to grow. All it needs is still shallow water, sunlight, and a source of nutrients, usually in the form of manure runoff, compost tea, or diluted urine. In fact, duckweed thrives in nutrient-rich water that would otherwise cause algae blooms or pollution. You don't need a fancy pond either. Many farmers grow duckweed in plastic totes, kiddie pools, or IBC tanks. Some even use old bathtubs or cut-open barrels lined with pond liner. As long as the water stays still and doesn't freeze, duckweed can thrive. It grows best in 4 to 12 inches of water, and it prefers warm temperatures between 70 and 85 degrees Fahrenheit. In full sun and with good nutrients, it can double its mass in just 2 days, which means you can harvest daily. To harvest, you can scoop it with a fine mesh net, drain it on a screen, and either feed it fresh, let it sun dry, or mix it into fermented feeds like silage or bokashi. With just a few square feet of space, you can grow pounds of protein-rich feed per week, especially in the warmer months, making duckweed a powerful tool for farms looking to close loops and grow their own feed. Beyond animal nutrition, duckweed offers some major advantages for your soil and farm ecosystem, especially if you're focused on regenerative practices. First, duckweed is an excellent nutrient recycler. It absorbs nitrogen, phosphorus, and other minerals from water, the same nutrients that, in excess, can cause runoff, algae blooms, or contamination in ponds and streams. Instead of losing those nutrients, duckweed captures them and converts them into usable protein, keeping your nutrient cycles tight and contained. This makes it especially useful in integrated systems. For example, growing duckweed in a runoff pond below a livestock shelter or manure pile. The duckweed will soak up the excess nutrients, preventing pollution and producing feed at the same time. Duckweed also helps shade the surface of water, reducing algae blooms and keeping mosquito populations in check. That shading effect can also help maintain cooler water temperatures, which supports beneficial aquatic life. Once harvested, the leftover water is cleaner, and the removed biomass can either be fed to animals or composted to enrich your soil. You're essentially using plants to filter water and then returning those nutrients to your pasture or garden. Duckweed also plays a role in carbon sequestration, thanks to its rapid growth rate. Because it pulls in CO2 and converts it to plant mass faster than most terrestrial crops, it can be part of a broader strategy for climate-smart farming. And here's a surprising stat. 1 acre of duckweed can produce more usable protein per year than 10 acres of soybeans. That's not only efficient, it's game-changing for small farms working with limited land. So whether you're growing it for feed, water filtration, or soil building, duckweed offers a triple benefit. It feeds your animals, restores balance to your ecosystem, and helps you close nutrient loops across your farm. Of course, no feed is perfect, and duckweed does come with a few challenges you need to be aware of before diving in. First, water quality matters. Duckweed is highly efficient at pulling in nutrients, but it also absorbs anything else in the water. If you're growing it in contaminated runoff, like from industrial areas or chemical-heavy operations, you run the risk of introducing toxins or heavy metals into your animal's feed. Always use clean or naturally fertilized water sources, and avoid anything that may contain pesticides or herbicides. Second, duckweed needs constant maintenance. If it grows unchecked, it can form thick mats that eventually choke out oxygen and start to die off, leading to foul smells and poor water quality. To keep it healthy, you'll need to harvest it regularly, ideally every day or every few days during peak growing conditions. It's also worth noting that duckweed is not a complete feed. On its own, it lacks sufficient fiber and energy to support ruminants or monogastrics as their sole diet. It's best used as a protein supplement, 5 to 20% of the ration, depending on species, alongside other forages or grains. Another caution, because duckweed isn't part of mainstream feed systems yet, there's limited commercial infrastructure. That means if you want to use it, you'll probably need to grow and process it yourself, which can be a benefit or a drawback, depending on your setup. Finally, duckweed doesn't thrive in cold weather. In most regions, it'll go dormant or die off once temperatures drop below 50 degrees Fahrenheit. That means it's best suited for spring through early fall production, unless you have a greenhouse or heated system. So while duckweed is incredibly promising, it does require some hands-on management, thoughtful integration, and seasonal awareness. But for many small and regenerative farms, the benefits far outweigh the limitations, especially when feed costs are rising and inputs are hard to find. So is duckweed the future of livestock feed? Maybe not on its own, but as part of a regenerative, low-input system, it offers some serious advantages. It's nutrient-dense, fast-growing, and requires very little space. It can help you reduce reliance on commercial feeds, cut costs, and even clean your water while producing protein. And best of all, you can grow it right on your land, without expensive equipment or high-tech infrastructure. For farmers looking to close the loop, raising animals, cycling nutrients, and building soil, duckweed is a powerful tool that deserves a place in the conversation. If you've grown duckweed, or are thinking about trying it, let me know in the comments what animals you'd feed it to first. I'd love to hear how you'd integrate it into your farm system. And if this kind of content helps you farm smarter, hit that like button and consider subscribing. It really helps the channel reach more people who are trying to farm differently. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.